In the great hall of the Justice League, there are assembled the world's 4 greatest heroes, created from the cosmic legends of the universe. Their mission, to fight injustice, to right that which is wrong, and to serve all mankind.
Welcome, welcome everybody. Today is the show you wanted us to review. This is it. Spinner Rack. The whole crew is here. There's no question about this movie. We're going to review it. So today the gang is here. I'm going to introduce everybody according by order of importance. Naturally, Cal and Petey are booked up at top. And we had a guest, but he didn't show up. And we had another guest who was going to come, but didn't show up. And then our man D-Man himself.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Man, it's getting violent in here.
Thank you.
Gentlemen,
Appreciate
we saw the movie. I don't even know what to say. I have been blown away. Why? Because I spent 2 hours and a half of my life watching this movie.
You loved it?
I love the elements of it.
Was it 2 hours? It was a little more than 2 hours.
You know what? It felt like a slog. I'm not going to knock it. It was, I don't even know how to describe it. So ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to bring it on to the man I know is going to kill this right now, D-Man himself. Tell us, D, what do you think about the movie?
I love the opening sequence. The opening sequence was great. Them storming Baron Strucker's hideout, the Hydra base. I like that. I like the characterization between Hulk and Black Widow. That was a surprising element, and it worked. It worked for me. It didn't seem out of sorts for the ensemble. The other shocking element was Hawkeye having a family. I was like, oh wow, Hawkeye has a family. The elements that didn't work for me was Ultron. For me, he came across too much of a human. At one point, he's talking about if you invade, you create this. You know, the people who fear what they do, they create their own menaces for themselves. And then he was like, oh, and that thing that humans create, those things. And he was like, oh yes, children. I'm like, dude, you're a computer. How are you forgetting? I was just like,
I don't know if he was forgetting. He was sort of joking.
But it seemed weird. No, it just came across as weird. And the singing, I was just like, dude, you're singing at that part when he's he has the plane. He take the plane and is going, oh, no strings on me, and like, dude, really? You singing here, man? I was like, this is
D, I feel with you 100%. I understand. But I also understand what Petey was saying, that this was more like he was being, I don't know, facetious, sarcastic.
Yes.
You know, that's what I got from it. But I was like,
Tony Stark.
It was just kind of just out of place for me.
Yeah, very much so.
You know,
very much so.
You're saying you're better than humans, but yet you're kind of acting like them. It just took away. But hell, Petey,
his brain patterns are based on Tony Stark. Just like how they lifted that stuff from the comics. That's all that stuff that he was doing. All of the glibness, okay, all of the repartee. It's based off Tony Stark. They as much as they didn't flat out say it, but it was pretty obvious. Yeah. From there.
Well,
that's what he was doing.
I can see what you're saying, but it just to me took away. I probably because I read the Ultron comics, and I just felt this. It just wasn't the big bad that I thought he was.
Yeah, exactly.
This wasn't the
he didn't come off as a cold, hard intellect that I was hoping that, all right, there's no wavering. His intellect is sure. To purge the earth of all crime and peace on earth, you need to purge humans. But it didn't seem like he, because at one point to create the Vision, he hypnotizes the woman. But I'm like, but why are you talking to Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver? Do the same thing. Hit him with the Loki's thing. Cling, and then you don't have to talk to them. I'm like, what's going on here? But
let's let Pete say something. What you gotta say, Petey?
I mean,
but make sure. But before you say, before you say you enjoy it, just be careful.
What?
Because we got violent people out there who are not going to be okay, who are going to say, hey.
That loved it.
I mean, don't get me wrong. It was a good movie, but it wasn't what I expected.
I just thought it was a fun movie. I think the plot was simple enough with the amount of characters that made it easier to follow. Whereas the first one was more Tesseract, just throwing around the word, the Tesseract. Oh, okay. I got the Tesseract. And it's like, this one, okay, Ultron appears. They show you how he appears. He comes in. He's the threat. He has those, they have Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch. But it was a simplified plot. It wasn't how the other one was, where it kind of went off track first and then came back together. This one just basically, Ultron's a villain. They're after him. They're trying to track him down. I think when he went to the Hawkeye stuff, I didn't necessarily need that. Or maybe even the Thor going in the water. But otherwise, I enjoyed the fights. I like Captain America.
Thor's purpose of checking out the Vision was purposeful for him as the story progresses, for him to be one of the catalysts creating the Vision to finalize that.
Yeah,
so it was necessary. So because if you have this character and Thor's the baddest dude he's the Superman of the Avengers.
Yeah.
If this guy is created from Ultron, there's no way he's going to allow it to live unless there was a reason. So he had to be on board. So I understand that.
Well, not that. I was just saying the whole water scene, to see all this setup, to see the what's the name, the soul, instead of the
Infinity Gems
stone, and say this is a gem. Oh, this is the gem. So it was like just the water, that whole scene. Let's go down there again. It's like I don't need to see that again.
Going in there, I was really hyped for it. I definitely had some expectations going in, and I literally, my whole rating of it went up, down, and so finally I was like in a good place and I could just like really think about it. I wanted a stronger story. I think the story is simple enough to work, but I really wanted a stronger story. Ultron really never came across as the type of villain that he is in the comics, where he's like a really major threat. To be honest, at the end of the day, he's like he's a bad nuisance, but he never really comes across as this really major threat that he would come with.
He did for me. Go ahead.
Thanks. He just never for me came across as this really major threat. The Avengers for me never seemed like they were in a place where they were like, okay, fine, we don't know what the hell we're going to do. It was pretty much the first movie. They went up against it like the Avengers normally do, like the football team. They came out for the first half, they got their butts kicked in the first half, they took halftime, and they came back and they just mowed over them from there on in. So it just never really came across.
I mean, that plot that you're saying is a derivative of all Marvel movies. That's the theme of what they do.
That's not my concern. I'm speaking strictly about this movie. If it works for another movie, fine. This one, no, wasn't working for me. And again, the whole idea is one of the best selling points and one of the biggest enjoyments for me in watching a comic book film is if it's like reading a comic. Okay, if that translates, then it's a really enjoyable experience, and a lot of it did get to that. That opening sequence, Cap takes the motorcycle, just flips it over and throws it into them, straight out of the page of a comic book. They had that nice spiral scene where the Avengers are trying to protect that vibranium from being touched, and they're all going over, it's like that circular motion where you get to see it. That's a splash page right over there. So those things I was able to take in and really enjoy it, but I really did want, based on the trailers and everything, it really got my expectations up. I really did want a stronger story. I think the story that they have works. It's a good film, but I just really wanted a stronger story out of it.
For me, it wasn't that it was a stronger story. It was more or less Ultron didn't come off as a stronger character. The storyline worked, and I love the idea that Ultron was talking about evolving, which is the whole point of, the Vision coming together at the end, which is like, all right, cool. I love this whole concept. And of course the asteroid and, just wiping out the planet. I was like, oh, this is serious. He became much more of a menace and much more serious in tone at the end of the movie. Everything up until that point, he seemed hokey. He seemed, what you call it? What's another word I'm trying to look for? Hokey.
Corny.
Corny. Oh yeah, very corny. Very corny. With the whole these small diatribes of aloofness, like, oh yes, XYZ, or when he was talking to a Claw, is it Claw? Yeah, Claw. Yeah. Right, and what you call it? He says, "Do I look like Tony Stark?" Hey, and he's like, "I don't even get your anger. You don't even feel the anger at that point. It seems so arbitrary."
That scene I thought worked because again, he's based off Tony Stark's brain pattern, and so when he's referring to him as Tony Stark, I think he understands that. Look, he knows where his basis comes from, and that's why he was willing to cut off the guy's arm.
Being
so that one I
angry
thought
over
worked.
that didn't come across. It's like, oh, you didn't even set that up right.
That's like a scene where, like, for me it works because I'm like, look, this is like a son rebelling against, hey, you're just like your dad. I'm not like my dad. I'm gonna cut off my arm to prove that I'm not like my dad.
It takes away from the whole point that he's saying that the problem with humanity is that they're imperfect. They cause a lot of the problems basically, and yet he's being exactly like one of the most imperfect of all humans.
Because he's
Tony Stark,
based off a human being. He's not. It's not like he gained
logical. It's not saying.
It's not like he gained self-awareness
like
through
Vision, who wants to be more human.
He's based off a human being.
This is the opposite, where he's saying, no, human are the problem. Vision wants to be human. He wants to be.
Vision, I thought I really liked what they did with the Vision.
Ooh, loved it.
I really liked what they did with the Vision.
Sweet.
I'm not a huge.
Sweet.
I was never a huge Vision fan.
Sweet.
Didn't like him. And
What?
I'm just saying the guy
Mario,
Paul Bettany did a good
Why
job.
are you even here? Like, what are
Mario,
you doing here?
that was a highlight of
Don't
that
get me
movie.
wrong. I said he did a good job. I mean, and normally Vision doesn't do it for me, but he did a great job in the movie. You know, the actor Paul Bettany. Who Josh Whedon wrote the movie, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he did a good job. I like the whole aspect of Hawkeye and the family.
The dialogue
I
is
hated
tight. The dialogue is tight.
The Hulk and
And Iron Man. I like that. Go to sleep. Go to sleep. Go to
Oh,
sleep.
yeah.
Go to sleep.
That's
It was
a
all
comedy
cool.
moment, comedy
Yeah,
moment,
but this
yeah.
is the guy that was talking about. Oh, dude, if I
No,
see another
no,
Avengers. Remember he
Yeah,
was talking the
that's
last time.
my
Right,
problem.
I saw
That-
them fighting
no.
again. Like,
Let the
so
man talk.
what you think?
The fight was okay.
Oh, just okay, Petey. Just okay.
Because my problem is that he keeps putting on more armor. This time
Yes.
they had it set up where he just has 3 million armors that don't really work. He should be able to take them down if he has all this set up. But it's just like, no, he's going to take down the building every time. And he finally, but I didn't have a problem with it. I thought it was okay. I just have a problem when you have Tony Stark putting in bigger armor. So, okay, here's Galactus. Let's put him in even bigger armor. Let's put a Galactus Buster armor. That's what I have a problem
That would
with.
be cool.
No, that is not cool.
Well, but it's the Hulk. I mean, why wouldn't he have? Remember, he had in Iron Man 2. He had that big Iron Man armor that held up that big scaffolding at one point. Remember that?
Igor?
No, Tony Stark had an Iron Man. Remember he
That was
said
the name of the armor.
house party?
Yeah.
House party?
That's right.
And, yeah, I
Right.
mean...
Yeah,
that was the name of the armor.
No, but I'm saying that's
And then,
Igor.
remember, there was the first movie with the one he was fighting before.
When he puts on these armors, his armor isn't that much weaker than the Hulk, right? So him and Thor could probably take out the Hulk. If the way we have it is like, okay, he puts on this armor, he should be able to stop him with this huge thing. The character doesn't work where you have him like, oh, okay, you shouldn't be able to just pile up stuff on him so he can fight these other characters. And that's what I have my problem with. Like, don't just he's already there. If you add on more armor, it's like, why doesn't he just do that when he's fighting in the other movies? Other movies, he's like, oh, he should just use that armor all the time.
But there's
and it stops
compromise with
everything.
size, weight, power.
Yeah, and
you
of
know.
course the satellite. I mean, look, we're talking comic books, and I understand what you're saying. That if this is the ultimate, and you can get badder with this armor, then you don't need to be thin Iron Man.
Yes.
You can be badass by Iron Man all the time, and I agree with you on that. That you make a lot of sense with that. But on the same hand,
I agree with you there to a degree because.
why you cut my wisdom, God?
I'm
Why you cut my wisdom, God?
I'm just saying.
Wisdom?
I'm just saying. Here it is. If you're saying he could take, you actually think Iron Man could take Hulk? I don't believe that's possible. You know, the Hulk has unlimited power. The angrier he gets, the stronger he gets. He can take on almost anybody. So even with the armor, to me, I don't even see the point in him. He can get as big armor as he wanted to. It's just not going to work. You know.
I thought that would be the case too, but if we're looking at it logically, the Hulk is flesh and bone. All right, we're just looking at it logically, flesh and bone. All right, and although we're not doing comic book stuff, because we're doing comic book stuff, this dude could dig underground. He can lift up probably half the sidewalk. They're not doing all of that. They're not gonna get outrageous with the Hulk power. Okay, the Hulk anger. He's an angry brute. He can do a lot of damage. We know he can survive a lot. Bullets don't hurt him, right? But on the same time, his intellect at this point is very narrow, and the consciousness there can be very, it's wavy. All right? So you catch him at a side punch, he could probably get knocked out. The whole point is that, to me, I saw the Hulk as a wild animal. He's trying to control it, and it's trying to get away from him. That's how I saw it. And I thought that description of how they did it visually worked for me.
And that works. I agree. But, I just think that sometimes I feel that within this movie, the confines of this movie, they're limiting him as much as he possibly can do. I mean, here, we look at the fight.
They're limiting Thor, too.
That's true too, but I'm looking here, and this is what I was saying, why I had a problem with Ultron. Hulk on his own, if he was more focused, Thor on his own, if he had his act together, can all take, those two alone could take Ultron. That's my feeling. You don't need the whole crew. Definitely don't need Hawkeye. You don't need Black Widow, right?
Wait a second. You're saying,
Iron Man. I'm saying, I just didn't feel the threat from Ultron to say, hey.
Ultron has an adamantium body. That's one of the selling points. That's one of the things that made him so destructive. Here, it wasn't so much that he had an adamantium body, it was that his consciousness was spread all over the place. So the Hulk could have wiped the floor with him at any time, but the whole idea is they needed to shut him down
I know.
all over. So for that would have probably been a team effort. But I mean, what Petey's saying about the whole Iron Man armor, I mean, Iron Man knocked out the Hulk, in the comics, and he was just wearing the classic armor. He just charged up everything one time, caught him with one good punch, and he knocked the Hulk out.
How many times that happened? That's
what
one
he's
time.
trying to. That's what he's trying to say.
Like that armor is at the state of the art, right?
Right.
And when he
I'm
knocked
agreeing
him
with
out,
you. I'm agreeing with you.
I'm saying
I
that
don't know
he
what to
was-
chime in. I'm agreeing with you. The whole thing with the Hulkbuster armor, it was just like, it's a cool visual. Okay, it's not really necessary. Iron Man, a smart fight between Iron Man and the Hulk, Iron Man's going to hit him from a distance. He's not going to engage him to do all of this stuff, because once you get your hands on him, it's pretty much over. Once he's once he's bridged the gap, that's it. Iron Man would probably fly out of stuff, hit him with repulsors, try to rope him, keep him away, buffet him. That would be a smart fight. And they always get to these mano-a-mano things where you'd have to be crazy. Okay, because Mario's right on that. No amount of armor that you can lay on is going to stop the Hulk. Even this Hulk, who's been pared down to the point to try to keep it reasonable, even that's not going to be able to stop him. Not if Thor is fighting Iron Man and he's slowly but surely crushing his gauntlets. But the visual, it's a cool visual at the end of the day. Yeah. It makes for a great toy, which I will be picking up as soon as they put it in the store. So those type of things I can go along with it. But from the comics, no, it's not definitely your point stands. But the visual about the whole thing, I'd be lying if I said it wasn't a cool visual and it's just not fun to watch.
Well, I would just only add that I think I said it 3 million times to you guys that the Hulk is too much problem. He's more problem than he's worth in the Avengers. But in this, you had the Hulk react to what he'd done. He was saying that he's looking at me. He's like saying, I can't stay with. I'm not a help. I can be more problem in this situation.
Right. What he saw is what I am really, and if I am a beast. Yes. Untamed, this is the kind of damage I can do. Yeah.
So Planet
Hulk. Yeah, it was.
That was a good point.
I like that myself.
It's a good point, and it's a great selling point if it hadn't also been the same for all of them who got possessed. Anybody who got possessed pretty much was pretty much in the same boat, with Tony Stark going over here and creating the problem anyway. So it works for the Hulk because we're being trained to look at him as this particular monster without thinking, hey, she screwed with everybody's mind, and pretty much the result was the same across the board. If they didn't necessarily go into themselves and look at all this nonsense, okay.
Well, I think it works better for the Hulk because there is an element of Bruce Banner that remembers that consciousness, even though it's the Hulk, it's remembering or reflecting on the damage, and that part is what's causing him to hold back. And it's not the Hulk going wild, because you saw the Hulk going wild, but what you saw reflecting was Bruce Banner having an element in the Hulk going like, the hell is going on here? And so that came across, especially when he reverted back to Banner, and he's like, look, I saw a vision of the real Hulk, the Unleashed, and this wasn't cool. Yeah. So that was kind of cool. Else I didn't like...
But it took him just that time. That's one. My thing was, don't you know this already? I mean, don't you see all the damage the Hulk has always done? Remember in the first movie, in the
that's
Avengers,
why he was code green. His whole thing was to hold back, and he was only coming in if it was absolutely necessary. Yeah. She went, messed with his head, and got him into the fight, and threw off the whole game.
What I really liked is Black Widow going like, mwah! But I need the other guy. I like that.
All right, so what do you think? That wasn't your part. But I'm saying, hold on. So what do you think about the whole Black Widow Hulk relationship? I was a little surprised by it.
They need to get more women on this team. I'm just tired. To be honest, they need to get more women on this team, and not the Scarlet Witch. They need to get Ms. Marvel or someone else on this team.
Well, Ms. Marvel was supposed to be in the movie, right?
Yeah, but they couldn't. Captain Marvel. That's who he wanted. Yeah. But they need to get them on the team, because building up to this, they aggrandized Scarlett Johansson's role as Black Widow to the point where they really started to sour me towards the character, and I like her character. I like her as an actress as well.
I think she stole the show in certain elements. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, okay. Okay, not that type of movie theater. But no, because I came over here and I'm like, okay, they need to put someone, because they keep beating this drum. She needs a solo film. I'm like, no. The Black Widow, I don't think would carry a solo film very well. Not for me. I haven't seen anything from her that would make me want to sit for 90 minutes and watch her adventures or anything. I think she's a good team player with the Avengers, But other than that, no. So they really need
I
to
kind
put
of
some,
disagree. I kind of
they
think
need to put some more women on this team, just so I don't have to hear this anymore and I can
I
enjoy
think
the
there's a
film.
room enough for a Black Widow film. I think her background, who she is, what she does, and all the people that she
Especially
comes
with the background.
Yeah.
That the orphanage was hot.
Yeah, I'm like, yo, she really can.
I thought there would have been a good. I was like,
and she's a strong character, and I like her, the actress alone.
I think
you
even
know?
though initially when you saw her from the first movie, you didn't think so, but after Captain America: Winter Soldier, and especially this one, where they mess with the mind and you see her her origin, you're like, there's enough material here that could push a movie through. I think so.
And one thing I like, and one thing I like is
bomb like all the other
no,
ones.
and I think with her,
She is showing herself to be a
bomb
vet.
like
all the hits, yeah. And then she did a movie, Lucy, that was a huge hit by itself.
Lucy is not Black Widow, and it wasn't a huge hit. It was a bigger hit than they
What are you
expected.
talking about?
No, it was a
Bomb
big
like
hit.
all the other ones. What other ones of Marvel movies bombed?
Black Widow has shown herself to be an excellent supporting character. I have not seen any evidence of her being a strong lead character.
Let's give her a movie
We
and let her
just
see.
said how she could be a lead
You know what
character.
I'm saying? Let her
We
movie.
saw how she was leading elements of the Avengers. Matter of fact, I would say you're correct on Hawkeye being a role character.
No.
His character can do a role.
Hawkeye's not a good supporting character. They
No,
did the
he's
best
a
thing
good
with
supporting. He's
they
not
did
a
the
lead
best thing with
character.
Hawkeye. They did the best thing with Hawkeye. I said supporting. They
He's
did
the best supporting character, right?
No, he's not a good supporting character.
He is.
Not in this film. The best thing they did with Hawkeye was ship him off at the end and say, "Hey, look, honey, I'm home. Stay home.
Wait,
Stay
why
with
would
the,
why
be
do you think
daddy."
that? Why do you think that?
Are you kidding? The exegesis in the story kept reminding us this guy doesn't need to be here. There is no reason, no role for him to be here.
I disagree
It's
with
like,
that.
I think you need to be on the team because you remind them and this, and you're so
kind of
integral to
agree.
the team.
I gotta agree.
I disagree.
No.
I mean,
Whatever.
we're dealing with
If
super
we follow in the
powered.
comics, then Hawkeye is a
Ultron!
If we're following the comic books,
I got this
and you're talking
three-arrow
about,
grip.
and you're talking about, oh, you want to see a comic
is
book?
not- this isn't the comics.
Whoa, sir, you
This
said
isn't
you
the
want. What are
comics.
you talking? This is a comic book
No,
movie.
no, this
Yes,
isn't
it
the
was.
comics. This isn't
This
the comics. In the comics,
we're talking
Hawkeye
about you
is
want to
playing-
see a comic
in the
book
comics,
movie
Hawkeye
in the comic
displays
book,
some
in the
really
comic book,
good
in the
leadership,
comic book, in the
everything
comic
of that
book.
nature. This
Hawkeye
guy over
is
there,
a pivotal
Hawkeye
member.
doesn't
Hawkeye is
show
a
us
pivotal
any
member
reason that
of
he
the
needs to be
Avengers.
on
You
this
can't
team.
remove his
Okay,
role.
gentlemen,
He's doing it.
we gotta bring it down, guys. All right. What do you think about Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver during the movie?
Oh man, not
the wrong
enough
character-
characterization.
Hold
Not
on,
enough.
Petey, what do you think?
Not enough.
The wrong character died.
Yeah, who do you think should have died? I thought
None.
Scarlet Witch.
Falcon, take the Falcon and kill him.
Anthony Mackie, you crazy, man.
I don't mean
Oh, you crazy,
I like
man.
Anthony. So
What?
No.
Falcon?
Yeah, man.
I like him, but
I like
I'd rather
Falcon.
have Quicksilver.
Thank
there.
you.
Yeah.
I
He
like
was,
Falcon too.
he was one of the best things of
Falcon
what you call it,
terrible,
Winter Soldier.
man. He looks like a nerd,
No,
dude.
he
He looks like
doesn't.
a
What are
nerd
you
with
talking
wings.
about, man?
Nerd.
He is the next Captain America.
No.
But anyway,
Well, let's
No.
yeah, go ahead.
But back to
Not him.
Quicksilver. What do you think
No.
Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch? What do you think
I
about it?
didn't like. They didn't have enough characterization, especially when they killed his character at the end. You didn't feel any remorse for the character. It didn't come off. There was no emotion because he didn't have most of the lines. It was Scarlet Witch that had most of the lines. And one of the things that I liked about the character Quicksilver, Pietro, is that he's hot-tempered.
Right.
He's a hot-blooded dude, so he's quick to go off, and he has this anger, and I never saw it in the movie. And some of the stuff that Aaron Taylor Johnson was talking about, he was saying that Quicksilver was hot-tempered in some of his interviews, and I'm like, I don't see it here. I don't see the.
I didn't feel the heat myself.
Extended cut.
And especially when they were trying to make a connection to Stark's industrial stuff with the. I was like, okay, this is a great time for you guys to be even more angry at Stark. I want to see this. Stark. All I get was one quip about, oh, you're at home with your stuff, and we see a cut of the missiles. I'm like, for real, dude? That's it? Your parents died, your building was there, you was almost there, and that's all you got to say about Stark? You're supposed to be angry as hell
But
here.
it was okay because you could see him when he ran, so it was okay.
Yeah, I think I don't understand.
I understand what that meant, but
That was
okay.
that was your big thing. Hey, I didn't like Quicksilver in the X-Men film because he was running so fast nobody could see him. Here, we could see him when he ran.
Oh yeah, I love that. I love the effects. We're just talking about
Wait,
characters.
I liked them better in the X-Men film.
Yeah,
you
me too.
You kidding me, man? Hell no.
No, I like them better in the X-Men. I like them better. You like them better in the X-Men film?
Oh god.
Oh god.
No, I mean,
Oh,
come
yeah.
on,
Oh,
man.
God. Here we go, Petey. What did you like? What did you think about Vision lifting Thor's hammer?
I didn't mind it.
Okay.
Oh,
Okay. I agree with you. We're here.
What's
That's right.
Captain America?
Yes, I agree with you. Because the last time
Was
I was like,
lifting the
yeah.
hammer,
No,
and then
he
he
did
decided,
not.
you know what? I don't need to show
No.
anybody up and just let it go back. That's all it was.
No. No. That's
Vision,
bogus.
a
That's
computer?
what happened.
Nah.
Anyone who
Yeah,
wants
yeah.
him to live
Vision
it.
Vision kept
was
saying,
perfect.
if you took the
Vision
hammer
was perfect.
and put the hammer in an elevator, it would go up every floor. Doesn't count.
I didn't mind that either.
Me neither.
That's the case.
That's a good. I like that. I
Because
like that.
he's
Because
not
he's
a man.
was
He's
here.
a
I don't
machine.
mind
that.
So
Cap
him
was here.
lifting the hammer doesn't
come
apply.
on.
And I'm like,
Hey, you
great.
saw it?
I loved it.
I wish I had
I
been in the
loved it.
theater with you, Pete. I wish I had been sitting right next to you when he jiggled the hammer. Like, Pete, what's up?
We both saw
Would have
the
been like a
jiggle
wet
of the
spot right
hammer.
over here. Like,
We both-
oh no, yeah.
Yeah, we saw the hammer and we were like, thank you. He can't lift it.
Are you
Perfect.
kidding? He can lift that hammer.
Nope.
No, he
No, he
can't.
can't.
No.
No, he can't.
Cap
No.
is cool enough to realize this is Thor's thing. I'm not taking this from
Cap
him. I got
can
the
lift it.
shield.
Cool.
No,
You got the
No,
hammer.
he doesn't.
What's
No, he doesn't.
That's why he's worthy.
What's the
No.
spell on it? Only someone who's worthy. can
Right.
pick it
Right.
up.
Come on, and
Vision
Cap
is
is
not
worthy.
even human.
That's
How
why.
can he be worthy? Like he said, if you get on the elevator and it goes up, of course it's
If
going to go
he
up.
be worthy,
Yeah,
There's
who
a whole
is
bunch
he?
of worthy elevators.
Vision is not a man.
Yeah.
He's an android, which makes sense that he can lift the thing because the hammer is not responding to him as a being.
But
It's
it
just
was
a thing.
responding to Cap, as we saw.
Yes.
A
He's
ship.
gonna pick up that
Cap,
hammer.
shit.
Cap is worthy.
But he wasn't able
hey,
to
hey,
lift it.
Cap is worthy, all right? Just watch yourself.
No, he's
all
not
right?
worthy.
We
No.
got- we
No,
got-
no,
So
Cap was
he's
worthy.
just a little bit worthy, so he was
No,
able to
he's
just
not.
lift it a
No,
little bit,
he's-
right?
he's-
You saw the
No,
hammer move.
yes,
Did the
yes,
hammer move?
yes, it
Did the
moved.
hammer
It
move?
moved.
Did the hammer move?
I didn't see the hammer move.
I saw
Yeah, you
it.
saw the hammer move.
That is some. That's for all. That's for you
hammer
guys
moved.
that want that to happen.
Uh-huh.
No. I don't care if he lifts the hammer or not. I think it's a dumb scene anytime they have guys coming over there to lift Thor's hammer because eventually somebody's going to do it. And to be quite honest, that's Thor's thing. I don't want to see anybody else lift the hammer. But since they always unnecessarily go about it, hey, if there's anybody who's going to lift the hammer, okay, and
Who's
going to
worthy?
be worthy,
Vision.
Cap.
Cap.
Vision. We like it.
Yeah,
We like
Vision.
Vision.
You know
Vision
what?
hot.
They
You
had a
like
show
Vision.
for you guys called Star Trek with Data. Go back and
Come
watch
on,
that
Data
Tin
was
Can.
terrible.
Okay?
I can take my
That should have been Ultron, actually.
I can take my
Ultron,
iPhone
that
and
should
kind
have
of
been
lift the
Ultron.
hammer.
It doesn't
I
count.
put
It
the
doesn't
hammer
count.
on the.
Like you just flip it. Oh, okay.
No.
To my hand, Mjolnir. To my iPhone.
What I like too is
Doesn't
that
happen.
at the end, what I didn't like was what I liked was Vision rescuing Scarlet Witch, which plays into the future of their relationship, of course, because he was talking to her about
Right.
read my, she was like, I looked into your mind and I saw all this destruction. He was like, look again, read it again. And what I didn't like was this whole, it was so cheesy when Hawkeye says to her, hey, when you walk out that door, you're an Avenger. And we get the slow-mo walk.
Because
and,
Hawkeye is a terrible supporting character in this
you're
film.
like, oh gosh,
No.
the cheese.
I like the actor. I'm not
Hawkeye
going
in
to say
the
he's
comics
terrible.
is ace. In this film, no.
I don't
Terrible
know.
supporting
No.
character. What
So
was his,
wait,
what was
so
his
what-
big
No,
role
it's
in the
not.
first film? Running out of arrows. That was his big moment. I ran out of arrows and I'm going to swing now
Oh,
with
no,
the
it
very last
wasn't.
arrow.
That was a
And
hot
was it.
scene.
No, it wasn't. That wasn't the hot scene. The hot scene was Loki. Okay.
Yeah, that was a
bang,
good
and then
scene,
it explodes.
Oh, wow.
That was the hot
Yeah,
scene.
there's
Yeah.
another
But
one.
it wasn't a
That was the
lot.
hot
It
scene.
wasn't a lot.